Gen Z Estate Agency. Today I'm joined by Toby Phillips, who is the boss man of Martin & Co and the Xperience brands of the Property Franchise Group. Toby, Gen Z, so that's people up to the age of 27, 28. Is it a job or is it a career? Talk to me.
Interesting, Chris. For me, at the moment, I think we have a big problem in agency within that age group, and I've only just worked out what a Gen Z is.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying that for me. For me, one of my biggest things is when someone joins this agency, what are we doing to create a career as opposed to a job? And in worse terms, a bum on seat because we're short of people.
Because in our day, because we're both in our early 50s, I know we don't look it.
No, exactly.
I can remember my first boss. I can remember, I can remember the area manager saying, if you do this, you'll get a piece of metal, bit of car, and it was, yeah, it's not like that anymore, is it?
But whereas I joined on day one, and I've been through an interview, and I like you, I've been through what gets me to year 8 and year 9, and every year, what's in it for me? And how do I get some really talented people? Because they must have been talented, Chris, because we employed them and paid them money. So what's in it for me as the employee to stay and say, this is going to be my career. This is how I'm going to buy my first property. This is how I'm going to have a family. This is how I will improve the quality of the children I have, etc., etc. How do I have estate agency as my career? Just like I have, like you have, and like many other people I'm sure you've interviewed.
Do you think the younger generation who are in their early to mid 20s are thinking that way though?
I think what happens, Chris, is when people leave school at whatever age or university or college, whether they like it or not, their life has been fairly structured. So they get up in the morning and they go to a place, whether it be a college or university or a school. Let's take school for a moment. So when I'm at school, I get up at a certain time. I have to be there before 9 and I leave at 3:30. And during that time, my day is structured. If you then bring people into an unstructured environment, then it's completely alien to them. So for me is, are they thinking along those lines? No. But the bigger question is, are we creating the environment that people want to be in, people want to stay in, and people want and see themselves being developed? And that's the question for me. People won't be thinking of that way, but are we creating the environment and the agreement with them that when they join us, what they're going to do for us, and in turn, as importantly, what we're going to do for them?
Do you think as older bosses, because we are by nature older, are giving almost a bit too much rope to proverbially let them hang themselves? And do you think we need to give them a bit more structure? Is that where we're lacking?
Absolutely. Yeah,
that is the essence of what you're trying to get across.
Absolutely. And I think we're in a world now where everything's very, very, very PC in terms of working week, working hours, working conditions. Some of that is absolutely important to what we do, Chris. However, the word structure, the word process, probably isn't the most exciting terms.
And let's be honest, most estate agents, bosses are not very good at processes and systems.
But if you talk to anybody who's come up through from 1980 onwards, there is a process that is followed in every branch that they've worked in. Today, is that process in that branch?
Do you think we as estate agents are very reactive in this, that basically we deal with what the viewing feedback, we deal with the viewings, and we're not actually proactive? So right, for the first 2 hours of the morning, you're going to be business generating. For the next 2 hours, then in the afternoon, you're going to do viewings, and then when you come back, you're going to chase the view. Does it need to be that structured with these youngsters?
It has to be that structured. And not only with, I know we're talking about youngsters at the moment, Chris, but not only with those youngsters, a successful business will have that structure to it. It will also have a flex so that it can react when needed. But actually, if the day's not set out, so it's a rhythm and routine, then the business will be left exposed to whatever the market chooses or town's going to do for them.
Now, you're responsible for Martin & Co and the Xperience brands, which are, just for anyone that doesn't know,
Parker's, Ellis & Co, CJ Hole, Mullucks, and in Hertfordshire we have Country Properties.
So you obviously must have at least 200 franchisees there. You must get to see an awful lot of the way the different people work. And I'm assuming, because I used to work for Belvoir, there's normally like 20% of franchisees, and I don't care whether it's a franchisee or someone who runs their own business. They're still business owners. Is it still the classic that probably 20% of them are structured and they're the successful one? There is a link there, isn't there?
There will be a link. There will be the anomaly to that rule, where we have some fantastically exceptionally successful franchisees who aren't structured, but actually are dominating their towns just because of the way they are, or their character or personalities. But the main rule of thumb is, in those branches where there is more than one, where a franchise is owning more than one, Chris,
Yes.
that structure is imperative, and that's where the success
That's the
is.
killer bit. That's why I think estate agency, there's not that many 2 or more branch estate agents. It's very, very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare. And, you know, because you know me, I like my stats and I look at the competition, you know, to get to 4 or 5 branches, you know, you're in the top 300-400 estate agents. There's not many estate agency brands out there that have got 4 or 5 branches. Do you think it's because of the type of person who's attracted to be an estate agent is a very people person, not a process person?
I would agree. I would agree. I think if you're a good estate agent, does it make you a good business owner? Not necessarily.
I agree. You're right.
But actually, if you are a good business owner, in likewise, normally because you've been very successful at being an estate agent. So it's a very double-edged sword. We're fortunate, Franchise Group, we have some particularly great multiple owners that also, but I have staff with, and probably the way I use it, we have staff who are vested within those additional offices. So again, they are almost a mini owner of those offices, and they have skin in the game.
As a business owner, not only do you need structure, but if you are going to have multiple branches, you need to have the bosses of each branch to have some kind of, as you say, skin in the game, or
a vested interest about the future.
Doesn't necessarily mean shares, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it means you have a like-minded person running a part of your business that has an interest for that business to do well.
So really, if we have to surmise this, whether it's Gen Z, millennials, or whatever, it all comes down to, if you are going to run a successful estate agency with great people, because it is a people business, is that you need the processes in place to allow the people to flourish with structure, but also empathy with the softer skills.
Exactly. And bearing in mind, if you're a business owner, you are a mentor, you are a role model. So if I looked at my career with the role models that I've had, that you do emulate, you do learn from, I've had some fantastic people I've worked for over the years. What you have here is the words you need to avoid in any business is when the negotiator comes to you and says, can I have a word? Is there anything you can do about my basic? If that conversation happens, you know you have something wrong. The earning potential isn't enough, or that person isn't seeing the future rewards that business can offer them. So for me, it's that process, clear expectations. But every person, good people, Chris, like to be challenged, and good people like to be targeted.
Because it's not all about money, is it?
Not at all. No, not at all. And it's not all about material objects as well. It's the feeling of being part of something that is moving forward, that is growing, and also is enjoyable. So if you enjoy where you're going to be for 40, 45 hours a week, that's a massive tick in the box. And actually, we all turn up because we want to earn money, but actually it's not the overall biggest part of it. It's the environment, the enjoyment, and the feeling of being part of something, Chris. I think that's, for me, that can be what we lose in today's estate agency.
What would your best advice be to any estate agency bosses saying, that sounds perfect, where do I start?
It all starts with forming a partnership agreement with whoever you employ. And what I mean by partnership agreement, this isn't an HR agreement. This is an agreement between Mr. Phillips, Mr. Watkins. I think you've got something. You're going to join my business. Now, in terms of that business, what I'm going to do for you is X, Y, Z in terms of remuneration, environment, career development, promotional prospects, etc. What you're going to do for me is X, Y, Z. And we're going to shake hands on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we look at that in the next video?
Definitely.
Thank you for your time today, Toby.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris.